President Trump threatening to attack Iranian power plants if the country doesn't reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Iran saying if that happens, it will target U.S. infrastructure in the Gulf. Joining us now, Rich Goldberg. He served in the first Trump administration as the National Security Council Director for countering Iranian weapons of mass destruction. He also helped establish the National Energy Dominance Council in the White House. He's currently a senior advisor at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. It's good to see you, Richard. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Rich, what does, in your view, Iran have left? More than what we think, or less than what we think?
Well, there was an overnight interview that Admiral Cooper, the head of our Central Command, gave to all of the media outlets you could think of. It was Iran International, one of the leading opposition websites and news organizations for Iran. And he described this as a regime now acting in desperation. He really sort of showcases a major degrading of their missile and drone activities, their stockpiles, and their industrial base, plus destruction of their Navy. And of course, we've seen from the Pentagon briefings, we used to call the A-10 the tank killer. The A-10s are now being used as the boat killers, just hunting for small boats and swarms, explosives and mines on the high seas. And so he's describing a situation where they are starting to run out of the ability to wage mass war, not just in the Middle East, but obviously longer beyond their borders as well. And they're starting to move their missile launches and drones inside civilian population areas, trying to keep those stockpiles from U.S. retaliation. But whether or not they actually have the ability much longer to be able to defeat attempts to stop shipping is the big question, obviously, if you're watching the Strait of Hormuz.
Right. We hear so many different things, and fog of war, obviously, but the launch towards Diego Garcia, 4,000 kilometers, but they didn't come anywhere close. But that immediately got a lot of speculation about European cities that suddenly are within the range. So that sounds frightening, but then you hear, more positive, at least from our perspective, more positive reports that at this point it's been degraded to where there's very little left, and it's just hard to understand. And then it all relates back to what they can do in the Strait and how much damage they can continue to do in the Strait of Hormuz. Then can comment on this too, Rich. Where are our NATO allies at this point? I saw Mark Rutte appeared to say we're on board, but then every other European country may or may not go along with that.
Well, a couple things there to unpack. I mean, obviously, we have been tracking an intermediate range ballistic missile program from Iran for many years now. If you look at some of the published open source reporting on what their capabilities are, we've always said they had the missiles to go towards Europe already. What exactly this missile was and how they fired it is an open question still. But it goes to the underlying threat that the president has talked about, which is they have been building longer and longer range missiles and trying to perfect them. This is an actual threat, not just to the Middle East, not just to Europe, but long-term to the United States as well. As for our NATO allies, and not just our NATO allies, our major non-NATO allies that have dependency on the Strait of Hormuz, you're right. I think the president should be frustrated. We are doing the load of the work. Obviously, this is a conflict that we initiated. So I think from our allies' perspective, okay, we weren't consulted as much as we could have been. We weren't ready. The United States thought it had to go. It went. Okay, so they're waiting for us to degrade the threat as much as possible. Fine, we're doing that. At what point now do you say, hey, it's my supply that's being interrupted? It's not the United States supply, unless you're the state of California. It's my supply. So what am I going to do about this? Can I join a coalition? They did join coalitions like this under Joe Biden's administration to help patrol the Red Sea and even the Arabian Gulf. Why can't they now come in and say, okay, we're ready now. We see you have degraded the threat. We're ready to augment, provide tanker support, provide airborne assets. All of this should be coordinated. And I think we are on that verge. When you see 20 countries say, hey, we're ready to join a coalition, we want to start talking about this, I think they're reading the room, they're reading the threat, they're seeing the determination of the president to keep degrading that threat. They're seeing the pressure on their own domestic side of the supply being cut off. And I think they are going to come to the table and join some sort of multilateral coalition not just for the short term, but potentially for the long term as well.
You expect to hear something about from the president about the power plants today, Rich?
Well, he's put out this ultimatum, and obviously we don't know exactly what he has in mind. There is a balancing act here. If you actually expect at some point for the population to come out, take back the country, you want them to have internet access, you want them to have the ability to communicate, you want them to have the ability to organize in short order in the next few weeks or months. Taking down major power plants that serve civilians, I'm not sure is such a great idea. At the same time, if there are major power plants that serve the IRGC specifically in their military operations, one open question would be there's a power plant on Karg Island. A lot of talk about taking Karg Island via Marines. You could also just shut down the oil exports for some amount of time by taking out the power plant and its generators on Karg Island. So I don't know what the president has in mind there, but obviously he's looking at the situation. He's seeing the Trump regime continuing to target civilian infrastructure throughout the region. And he is looking to restore some kind of deterrence here.